Very good evening friends, and in this video again we are going to discuss about the event handlers, because we always say that the React is going to provide us the dynamic websites and the dynamic things, and these dynamism and the dynamic features can only be achieved with the help of some events. So we are going to learn about them. So right now here in the app.js you saw that I have already created this fun test and the passing this name and email. So I remove this props. I'm not passing anything right now, but in the fun test, instead of rendering this paragraph, I simply add one button. So this is button, and I want the button to have the text click me. So now let me refresh and see whether it is coming. Okay, so here it is. So click me button is coming. This is coming from this fun test, this one. Now I want one event to be added onto this. So here what I write, like on click, this is the event, and this is represented with the help of camel case. Camel case means, you see, the on click is you can say the two words joined together, on and click. The click, the second word, the first letter of the second word is beginning with the capital letter, and that's called the camel case representation of the word, which is made up of two or different words. So every new that, like you see here in the pop-up, the on click capture. So the first letter is small on, and then second word click C capital, and then the capture C capital. So this is how this representation is called camel case representation. Now inside this I want to declare a function. So that function name I haven't defined yet, but I'm using the function name. I say it's a click event handler, so I call it as click handler. Click handler. Now this props I'm not using anymore, so this is not required, and here also the props are not required. Now here I define the function click handler. So inside the Java function you can define another Java function. So the syntax goes like this: function and then click handler. Okay, so I also use camel case style of representation, make my C small. So this is click handler, and there I can print alert, and there I say this is my event. Okay, and then I use console.log to see console.log see event clicked. Event clicked. Okay, now I save and then I refresh my web browser. If I click on this, now see, this is my event, this is generated. Now I go and inspect in the console. So here it is console, and if I click here, since previous times click event is already showing, so now if I click it again, and then again you see event clicked. So this is working. So this is how the event can be generated. But right now, suppose if I say that I want something to happen by clicking on this. Suppose if I have a paragraph here, and then in this paragraph I want a text to change, like text, or I can write the name of a thread. So I use apple. Okay, so is it possible that by click of this button I change the text apple to some other letter? So here inside this alert, since I suppose if I write because it is a variable. Now how to use, because I'm not passing anything. So for example, suppose if I just make it, let me pass. So here I write the fruit equal apple. So I'm passing this apple, and in the fun test, instead of using this raw apple, I can use props dot. So I have to get this props dot. There it's not be dot, so props, and here it should be props dot fruit. Okay, now let me refresh this. So apple is showing. If you click on this, nothing will happen. Now suppose if I try to change this props dot in this function, can I do that? So right, if I say that the props dot fruit equal, now it becomes banana, or you can say orange. Save, and now check. So nothing is happening. If you see, then say that cannot assign the read only property fruit of an object, means this cannot be achieved using this method. So you need to use event handlers, and with the help of event handlers you can manage that. But this makes more sense in those cases where the state of the variable is involved, because right now this is a functional component, and you know that the functional component are those components which are stateless components. So for that I need to create a class component. So I create a class component here, and then I call it as event demo.js. Now I use the snippet RCE, and then there I remove this export because it's not required, and here I have a button, and then here it is, click me. So now let me go to app here, and then I remove this, and I call it as event demo. Okay, now this is coming class test. Right now is not required. Control S. So here, okay, now I think I need to remove this fruit right now. For time being this is not needed. Control S. So if you click here, nothing happens. Now here I want to change. Suppose if I write here H4, and there I use snippet rconst to create the constructor, and in this constructor I have fruit, and that is apple. This is the state, and here the button click, and then on the click of this button, on click I want this dot, because it's a class component, so I have to use this keyword, this dot click handler. Okay, so this dot click handler, now I have to redefine this. So not redefine, define. Click handler, I use the ES6 style of the representation of the function. So this is the function, this arrow operator, and there I have to change the state because the fruit is apple. I want this fruit apple to change to orange. So I write this dot set state parenthesis, and then inside the curly bracket I write fruit, and then there I write orange. So now I save the file, I refresh the browser, and okay, so orange. Click now inside this h4. I forgot to write. So this is this dot state dot fruit. Now save, refresh the browser. You see apple is in h4. It's seen. Now if I click on this, it has become orange. Okay, if I want to add one more function here, like on click, like suppose at the place of on click, if I write on mouse enter, on mouse enter, so when the mouse enters, then this click dot handler only will be invoked. So there will be no basic change. Instead of clicking, you just bring the mouse onto this, and this will become orange. Spelling is wrong. Orange. Okay, now I want to add one more function on mouse leave. So when the mouse leaves, then it will trigger a new function called this dot leave handler. So leave handler, again I have to define this function leave handler equals parenthesis open close fat arrow, and then curly bracket. Again I have to change the state, this dot set state parenthesis, and curly bracket I write fruit back to apple. So it means that once mouse click handler. Okay, so let's see. It means, see, when the mouse enters, it will become orange, and then again when mouse leaves. So why it's not happening? So on mouse leave, when the mouse click handler and leave handler, click handler changes the fruit name to orange, and the leave, oh spelling is wrong, H is capital, leave handler. Then when the mouse leaves, again orange will become apple. So this is just like a toggling effect. So orange apple, orange apple, orange apple, like this. This is called event. Like you are eventing, you are adding the event, and then with the help of functions. Now the question is that this is, I'm using this ES6 style. If I, instead of using this, if I don't use this ES6 style, suppose if I say that this is normal JavaScript function, and here also, okay, so this fat arrow is not required. Okay, so save and click here. See, nothing is happening. Now I go to the browser to inspect. Then what happens? In the console, it says, oh my god, error. And the error is, yes, it cannot read property of undefined read.setState. So this read.setState, this is creating a problem. So if instead of using this read.setState, suppose I remove this, then what will happen? Then it will work properly. But I don't want to remove it. I want my function to bind with this. So what I have to do, okay, so suppose if I remove this dot state, and instead of this I go to console.log to check what is happening. So console.log, then I say that the click handler, and there I write console.log leave handler, save, refresh the browser. Okay, now if I click on the button, say click handler, so it means this click handler is working. So click handler console.log and this leave handler is also not working. So leave handler on mouse leave, so refresh it, click handler, okay, so click handler is working. So now what I want, like suppose if you want to make this happen in this condition, then you have to use bind method. So instead of calling this function this.click.handler, there you type dot bind and then you pass this variable dot bind and this. So this I'm using only for click handler, not for this mouse handler. Let me make it simple. So the button, this dot parenthesis h4 is proper, this one button, yes, this tag is missing. So okay, oh my god, the button tags, click here, click here. Okay, so if I click on this, now you see that something is happening, but the rendering is not possible right now because we haven't added the code here. So right here, this dot set state, and inside this you write fruit, and then I make it as orange. Save, run the code, refresh it, click on this, now see it has become orange, so it is working. Now here also if I remove and I change the state like this dot set state, and then I write fruit back to apple, and this is leave handler. So there I write on mouse leave equals this dot leave handler dot bind dot this. Save, refresh the browser, and now you see if you click, this is happening. Now on the mouse leave, here I say first one is on mouse enter, the click handler event is triggered. So let me remove this one. Okay, so here refresh. Okay, only one side is happening. So this leave handler dot bind dot, oh, this should be in parenthesis bind parenthesis control S refresh orange appler. Spelling is apple. So now this is happening. There is also another way of doing this, like in this constructor here only you can write this dot leave handler equals this dot leave handler dot bind this. Same way you can use this dot click handler is this dot click handler dot bind this. And then since you have already used the bind there, so here only you need to pass this dot click handler, and here also this dot leave handler. Now save, refresh. So now it is working same way. This is working properly. Thank you very much guys. Now in the next video we will learn about the child component and the parent component and how you can call the features of one with the features of another. So thank you very much. Just subscribe to our channel and keep it with us.